Because why? Even Judah had fell off too.
That's right.
Judah went astray from worshiping the Most High. And that's why when we brought it out in the other shows, that's why the Lord brought them into captivity as well as the other tribes we're reading about now.
No, I guess back in Aphi, Judah, Benjamin, Levi were all righteous. They were all righteous. They were following the law, statutes, and commandments to the T over there in Aphi. You could imagine all the wickedness that was going on over there, man. You know?
Hey, the first intention would have been, it might have been the right thing, but eventually they became corrupted. That's why the scriptures say that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of the Most High.
Right, and back in Genesis 49:15, and he saw that rest was good and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear. Yeah, because of his sins, just like the rest of the tribes, they had to serve their enemies, because that's the curses, right? And became a servant unto tribute unto this day.
That's right. So basically they became a servant unto tribute. That's why you know wherever you go, everybody has Issachar as what? As working for them, whether it be cooks, whether it be trimming the grass or agriculture, masonry, carpentry, and all that. You know, because it goes back to the pyramids that they built. All right. So let's go back to the information.
All right. It says Garcia, in his celebrated treatise on the origin of the Indians, adduces as a partial argument in favor of the Mexicans being descended from the Jews the similarities which many of their laws bore to those of the Pt.6. Pentateuch.
Which is the 5 books of Moses.
Yep.
This time is the 5 books.
Yeah, the 5 books of which are the 5 books of Moses. This argument is so conclusive that it is unnecessary to insist upon its force. It may be inferred that altars of single stones were very common among the Jews, as they were also amongst the Mexicans. Exodus 20 and 24 to 25.
Right. So these altars of single stone, you know, was something that went back to Israel, to the priesthood. Now we're gonna get the scripture to prove that. Now they didn't raise any axe or anything or hammer to these altars. Why? Because the Most High said if you're gonna build an altar to him, make sure that you don't go up in steps. And he also said if you're gonna build an altar to him, make sure that it's of one full stone. Don't raise up no axe, don't raise up no hammer, nothing to it, because of the fact that if you do that, you're gonna defile that stone in that altar. Who got it?
I got it.
Exodus chapter 20 verse 24. An altar of the earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it.
Right. So that's why it said that the what was it? The Mexicans, right? They had a altar made of just one stone. So these are things. This is information. Like keep going back and forth and telling you this is information that the Spaniards and the other Europeans, so-called Europeans, Edomites, which are the devil, made observations of the people that were here and wrote it down, not knowing that these things that were written down back then, hundreds of years ago, were going to be set up today as proof that these people were Israelites, because the records that these people held, the indigenous people of the so-called Americas held, were burnt up by who? By the Spaniards and them other Europeans. So even the Lord put the spirit on them to write down records of the things that they were doing to show that they were Israelites. So go ahead, brother, let's go back to that.
Many customs of the Mexicans strongly savoring that Judaism, besides that of circumcision.
Guys, so now go to get this
Genesis 17 and 10 to 12.
Somebody get that. I got that. All right, you got that. So basically it was showing you that the so-called Indians that were here, certain ones of them were doing what? Keeping the circumcision. Where did they get that from? Because when they came over to this side of the world, they came over to this side of the world to keep the customs that they never kept in their own land, which is what? Samaria.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 10. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
Right. So basically, what that was the covenant of circumcision, which was given to who? To Abraham. And who did he eventually give it to? To the Israelites. So basically, that's showing you that those Mexicans and those so-called Indians are what? Israelites, based off of what? The law of circumcision. Go ahead, brother. You got something?
No. Slack.
Many customs of the Mexicans strongly savoring at Judaism, besides that of circumcision, having already been noticed, such as their wearing fringes fastened to their garments, was Numbers 15:37-41.
Right. And that's why, where did they get the fringes from and the borders of blue and all that? They were all the way on this side of the world. Where did they get that from? You know, for you guys out there that question, it's impossible for these people to be Israelites because all Israelites have to be Negroes. You know, you're out of your fucking mind, man.
Right, the Canaanites, they came over here. Right. The Zidonians, they didn't. There's no relics of them wearing fringes. They came over here. How come they just didn't all of a sudden just let's start wearing fringes?
Yeah, the Moabites came over here. The Moabites came over here. The Chinese came over here. There's no records of them wearing fringes.
You see? So now we have Numbers 15 verse 37. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a riband of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring. Now, what happened after a while? After the 10 tribes came over here, because when they first came over here, that was the reason why they came over here, right? Keep the commandments of the Lord, right? So that goes to prove to you that after a while they started forgetting the commandments of the Lord. They stopped wearing the fringes. They stopped, keeping the law and all that. They probably started burning the books of the law, because they had that when they came over, worshiping idols. You see, going off, man, being faggots.
And the scriptures say they worship beasts and all sorts. Like it says in Romans the 1st chapter. Yeah. 4-footed beasts. Right. Like you got Gad worshiping. They were worshiping the hawk, the eagle. Yeah. All right, they worship the sun.
Yeah, the beetle. Some of them worship the white buffalo.
White buffalo. Hell, a lot of them worship the white men. When Esau came here, they thought he was God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it on that.
That was it. You got something, brother? That's it. All right, so continue, brother.
All right. It says, having already been noticed, such as they're wearing fringes fastened to their garments.
Oh, let me say this real quick. And for you asshole, you ever follower of GMS, you scoffer to the 10th power, you asshole, you can't stay away from GMS videos. Unique Uncle Thomas, KFC the Ape, as we call you, or KOC the Ape from the Ram. Basically, we're not wearing fringes right now because when we go out to this on the streets to speak at the street speaking, we wear fringes and borders of blue on our garments. Today we're just doing a lesson on the side and we're not wearing it. But right, be not over righteous. So because right now we're in the park. There's all kind of people walking around. So we're in the park. We don't wear our garments. We're like Clark Kent. When we get around these people, but we're just bringing out information. But when we go out to the streets, on Saturdays or whenever day brothers go out, we wear the fringes with the borders of blue, the garments, But if you want to get technical, you're supposed to wear the borders of blue and the fringes on your clothes every day. But we don't do that because we're blending into this society and we're in the script, like the brother quoted the scripture. Be not over righteous.
Yeah, what the other said is well said. But you know what? We don't owe you fucking scoffers and you niggas any explanation. Fuck you. Because the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is with us and he ain't with you. Like Yahweh Shai said to the wicked scribes and Pharisees, he said, look, I am from above, ye are from beneath. When they asked him, where does he get, the breakdown and the understanding? He said, well, let me ask you this. The teachers of John, were they of the Most High or were they of men? And what did they do? They couldn't answer him. And because if they would have answered him, they would have cut themselves because everybody knew that he was a prophet of the Most High. But for edification's sake, because that's what we do, we bring our edification to the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for the elect sake. Judges 5:11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water. Now, the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, that's here in America. Drawing water represents slavery. When Israel went up into the land of Canaan, a certain group of the Canaanites weren't able to be conquered, man. So what did we make them?
Oh, actually, what happened was the Gibeonites, they feigned themselves to come from a different journey. So they acted like if they was a different people. So basically they was faking the funk, so to speak. And they basically said, that they just came to serve Joshua and Israel. So when Joshua found out later that they lied to him, instead of killing them, which he rightly so, since they made an oath with them not to put them to death, they made them hewers of wood and drawers of water, they made them slaves.
Beautiful, man. So that's what it is. They were made slaves. And it says, they that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates. Now, the word that you want to focus on is the word rehearse. What does the word rehearse mean? The word rehearse means before an actual event takes place, you rehearse. A synonym or a word that's close is to practice. Because when you practice, you're gonna mess up. And rehearsal, as a matter of fact, in a rehearsal, in any event, you have room to screw up, so to speak. Room for error. It is.
In the actual event, you have to do the actual thing without messing up. But now, dealing with the word rehearse, it also means to recount. So in other words, here in our captivity, we're recounting or saying and explaining the same things that were going on back then, breaking the scriptures down to you. And also, in the meanwhile, while we recounting these things, we're rehearsing, meaning that we're doing the things that are in the law, getting ourselves prepared and ready for when the bridegroom comes, which is Yahweh Shai.
Right. Because that's exactly what happened during the time of Ezra, right? After the captivity of after the Babylonians, after the Babylonians, all right, the Lord had it where they were able to go back under the leadership of Ezra, all right, and there was many prophets there with him.
That was during the Medo-Persian Empire.
During the Medo-Persian Empire, okay, they allowed them to rebuild Jerusalem. And there was many prophets there, man, building. And it tells you that they had the sword on one hand and, like a building instrument in the other. Building, So that's exactly what we're doing now. We got a sword in one hand and building instruments in the other. What are we building? Well, first, the sword is the scriptures of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And on the other, and the building material, right, which is go hand in hand. That's right. Literally, go hand in hand, because that's what we're building now. Right now, we're spiritually building the walls of Jerusalem, sealing up the breaches, right, of the house of David. And then after that, physically, we're gonna have the heathen build our walls. You see, that's the time we're living in. You see,
right? And that's beautiful, because like the brother said, right now spiritually we're building, So the sword, which is the Bible, and the building instruments, which is still the Bible, and the building that's being built now is a spiritual building. Somebody get 1 Corinthians 3 first. And then we're gonna get the other scripture that we call for, And basically, what's happening right now is the Most High is building up the tribes of Israel back again, and drawing them to himself. But then you got guys out there, whether they be scoffers or whether they just be ignorant or whether they just be wicked men, they're trying to stop the tribes from coming back to the Most High.